Welcome to today's episode of The Performance Cafe. It's great to have you here. As I mentioned in yesterday's vlog, I think it's important for us to talk a little bit about trust today. And the reason for this is if we take a look at how the leadership landscape is changing. So working with knowledge workers, setting up people to work from home, and then also taking a look at becoming more outcomes focused. I think a large part of that comes down to trust. And so I thought today we'd talk a little bit about trust and how do we make that happen? And, often people will say it takes forever to build trust. Well, we don't have forever in businesses. So let's see what we can do. So for me, when it comes to trust, I think there's two sides of the coin. I think very often it is so easy for it to be a, I don't feel trusted kind of conversation. And I think the important thing that we must understand is that trust goes both ways. It's not about having a trustworthy manager. It's not about working for a trustworthy company. It's also about being a trustworthy employee. And it's not about being a manager who expects trust from employees and for them to trust and be trustworthy. But also, just in the same way, the manager needs to show that they are trustworthy. And so for today, I think for once, I'm talking a little bit less to just the managers and small business owners. I think today I'm talking to everyone out there. And for me, the important thing is that we understand that trust is shown. When we were growing up, adults very easily said, do as I say, don't do as I do. Well, that's exactly the wrong thing to do because, of course, monkey see, monkey do. And the problem with this is that it is part of our natures to look at body language and understand, confirm what is being said by looking at the body language. And so the first thing about trust is that it doesn't help you say one thing and you mean another. Because what happens is people just find that confusing and they think that you are not trustworthy. So for example, I remember when my niece was about 3 or 4, if you say to her, did you do something wrong? Then she goes, no. Why? Because specifically at that age, it's very difficult to dissemble because she understood right from wrong. She knew she was wrong, but she knew she was going to get into trouble. So she had to lie. And although her words could lie, her little head had to nod. It couldn't go left to right? So I think that there's a very important thing around trust, that it's two ways. It is shown through actions and behaviors, not through words. Interesting thing, have you ever noticed how sometimes compliments don't land that well? And the reason for that is because I think very often people think that what you're saying and what they experience from you are two different things. And that throws them. That makes people very uncomfortable. Because of course, I don't know if you remember, we might have spoken about it or I wrote about it in a blog for Perform Forward. And that was about the amygdala that sits group of cells in the back of the head, and it sits looking for danger, and it's actually there to protect you. But what it also does is while you're in conversations, if you feel someone's dissembling, if you feel someone's not being entirely truthful, it picks this up and it starts sending you those little danger signals as well. Right, so when we take a look at trust, what is a good way of doing it? Well, today I've got two things I'd like to share with you. Firstly, there's research that says that if you're going to give someone negative feedback, then give them 7 positive pieces of feedback for the 1 negative. And the reason that you need to do this is you build a net of what people want to consider compliments, but I'm going to explain that in a bit. And the moment that you come with a negative compliment, think of it as a fisherman's net. And the moment that you come with a piece of constructive criticism, you break one of the nodes in the net, but the net will hold. So there will still be trust, right? And in the person receiving the feedback, in the person addressing the issue, and then in you acknowledging their work at addressing the issue, the node gets put back together again. And so from that perspective, it is easier if we just start from a perspective of, let me give this person clarity. Because very often people think it's got to be 7 compliments. It doesn't have to be 7 compliments. It has to be 7 acknowledgements of where they've fulfilled your expectations, where they have done well, where they've maybe gone above and beyond. Now, it sounds like a compliment, but think about it. All that you're doing is giving them indicators of what you prefer. what you expect, and how you want things dealt with. Now they've got a read of you. They feel, I know what this person wants and expects, and I know I can work with confidence within these parameters. Then when something does break, there's also a frame of reference to go back to and say, hold on, remember when we said this and this was well done? This wasn't that well done, but look, we could learn. We can transfer some of the learnings from the positives into how to fix the negative. Firstly, come from a base of clarity, of setting expectations before giving constructive criticism so that people have a base from which they can work. The second thing is the book called The Speed of Trust by Stephen M. Covey. He's, of course, the son of Stephen Covey, and between the two of them, they've written some fairly fantastic work. And in the book, he refers to the 4 cores of credibility. And I think this is something that's very important, is giving feedback to anyone when they don't trust you already is just going to make the job so much more difficult. So how do we establish that credibility? Well, firstly, I love the fact that in the book, there is a picture of a tree and the soil line shows the roots below, and they describe this area as character, and the only aspect in there is integrity. Now, integrity is about doing the right thing even when no one's watching. Right? It's what I'll do, what I'll say I'll do. You can trust my word. And I'm someone of moral and ethical standing. So that's the basis of trust, is if people don't think of you as having integrity, then it is very difficult for them to respond to you with trust. Then, if that's the character, the area above the soil, which shows the trees, the branches, and the leaves, is then the area of competence. And the area of competence has got 3 sections. Above the level of the soil is intent. And intent is akin to integrity. Because if people don't think that you come with good intent, yet again, they're not going to listen. That's maybe related to that example about the compliment, where what you're saying and what I see you doing doesn't match up. So what's the intent, right? Then the next level is capabilities. And this is the actual skills and ability to deliver. And then the last piece at the top of the tree is results. So it's whether we have the integrity and work from the right intent with the right capabilities in order to deliver the results. And I think that if we can show, both as leaders and as team members, as business owners, and even sometimes as clients, that that is what we've got, we have that credibility, then we open up the door to trust. I hope you've enjoyed today's insert. And of course, as always, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, or if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, please like, share, and keep those comments coming. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the Performance Cafe.